Imagine a classroom where every student gets a personal tutor. Lessons adapt to your learning style, and teachers have AI assistants that make education smarter and more effective. This isn't science fiction, it's happening right now. In today's video, we'll uncover how artificial intelligence is reshaping education forever. And if you love exploring how technology is transforming our world, make sure to subscribe to Epic Orbits of Knowledge and join our growing community of curious minds. Artificial intelligence, AI, is rapidly transforming various sectors, and education is no exception. As AI technologies become more integrated into educational systems, they offer both opportunities and challenges. This video will focus on strategy, on the strategic decisions that must be considered for this technology in educational settings, as well as the impact it is having on children, considering both what we should be teaching in a future where it is embedded throughout society, and the shorter-term risks of students using tools, such as Snapchat's My AI, without knowledge of data and privacy risks. This blog post explores the impact of AI in education, drawing insights from recent conferences and my experiences as an AI education consultant in the UK. In early September, I attended the UN Education Conference in Paris. The summit highlighted both the positive and negative effects of AI and discussed ways to mitigate and support these changes. Countries like Australia and South Korea have been particularly successful at integrating AI technologies into real-world applications. For instance, many Australian states have developed large-scale copilots built upon Azure datasets, which provide strategic support for learners while collecting new data as they use educational chatbots, a step towards personalized learning. This technique is an important stepping stone for education. In the past, datasets have been held by schools individually, whereas this collective method of holding and using data on a strategic level opens more opportunities for targeted applications. However, it also increases vulnerability to cyber threats and the broader impacts of AI misalignment if not monitored thoroughly. During the conference, Mistral AI and Apple highlighted the major differences between AI models based on how they are trained. Mistral emphasized that their model has been trained to be multilingual, rather than originally trained in English and then translated. This variation has a significant impact on the learning interface for students and underscores how subtle differences in training data or techniques can have major impacts on educational outcomes. Educational institutions across the world must consider which tools are best aligned to their students' outcomes and unique learning needs, rather than making rash decisions to acquire new technologies that are misaligned with their values. UNESCO's guidance on AI in education is excellent, but there is a gap between education policymakers and educators. During my time in Paris, I observed that many educators are already well-versed in using AI tools, while policymakers were in awe of basic custom chatbots like those built in Microsoft Copilot Studio, custom GPTs, or Google Gems. Such an imbalance concerns me, as, while technology in the education sector is often poorly funded, the technical and pedagogical understanding of AI's potential in education is mostly held by those working in schools. Moving forward, educators and government must have more opportunities for alignment. We should include teachers who regularly use these tools in stakeholder meetings, not just university researchers. Without this, governance will continue to miss out on the detailed knowledge of those in the education sector and simply rely on statistical research or the interpretation of researchers. Another concern highlighted in Paris was the rise of deepfakes. I have seen the impact they've had in schools in South Korea and the UK, with students easily generating deepfakes of their peers and teachers. Policymakers must address this issue. Many schools are trying to tackle this in-house through well-being programs, while other schools have taken a more innovative approach. In China, for example, they have created deepfakes of their head teachers to promote an understanding of the potential risks and harms of the technology. DeepMind's development of SynthID, featured in the journal Nature, may help increase the transparency of AI-generated content. Whilst working on an advisory panel with Microsoft, aiding in their development of AI tools grounded in pedagogy and centered around safety for users, I have witnessed a range of innovative tools that will transform the education landscape. One of the most significant developments is Microsoft Copilot 365, which is set to revolutionize teaching practices. This product can mark assignments, create lesson resources, and conduct data analytics within the 365 suite, which many schools already use. I believe this product has the potential to solve the global teaching shortage by streamlining the administrative elements of education, allowing teachers to focus solely on pedagogy and pastoral care. However, there are concerns regarding the dominance of Microsoft and Google in the education space. Although both companies have vast educator support and input, there are questions about transparency and ethical considerations in their product's design. Furthermore, while many student-facing chatbots prioritize rote learning, our current era emphasizes the importance of creativity and critical thinking. This highlights the need for more governance and oversight in the space of AI in education. Data and cybersecurity are significant concerns in education. Although many schools have moved to cloud computing to make systems more secure, the centralization of data by governments and councils, such as in Australia, creates enticing targets and vulnerabilities for hackers. A further concern associated with this data, which includes emotional, social, and medical information, is how it is used by companies and AI tools themselves. Microsoft explicitly states that this data is not used by Microsoft and is not communicated to OpenAI, a company that has been slow to report its data breaches. Google fails to provide a clear explanation of how it stores its education data. We must also raise the question of how we can ensure this information is not creating biased outputs. Could the echo chamber of a student's personalized chatbot actually be altering their worldview in detrimental ways? The more personalized these models become for students, the higher the risk. Although AI usage has been well measured in adults by companies such as Microsoft and OpenAI, how young people use generative AI is not well understood globally. Over 150 million users have used Snapchat's MyAI so far. The majority of this user base consists of young people in the USA and the UK. Some education studies also show wide-scale use of ChatGPT by young people, but without the commercial data protection offered by certain organizations, and given Snapchat's lack of adequate privacy controls, data protection, and content filters, there is growing concern in the education community about the impact such usage could have. To address this, we need parent consultation and digital safety education. These companies must also be held accountable for allowing children to access AI tools without suitable privacy and safety controls. Safety and security has not been the priority of all governments, companies, and policymakers so far in AI development, with economic growth being prioritized over children's safety. Such an attitude is demonstrated by the veto of the SB 1047 Safety Bill, a bill that was proposed in California aimed at regulating advanced AI systems to prevent catastrophic harms. It would do this by requiring developers to conduct risk assessments, implement emergency shutdown mechanisms, and include whistleblower protections. Governor Gavin Newsom vetoed the bill on September 29, 2024, arguing that it might give a false sense of security by focusing only on large-scale models and potentially stifle innovation. This veto highlights that children's digital safety is not a priority for those in governance, and so it must become a deeper priority for those working with young people. Beyond the practical deployment of AI in education, there begs the question as to what we should be teaching young people today. Many have raised this question, and The Economist, the World Economic Forum, and Microsoft have provided answers. However, education must go beyond the economic focus that the sector has today with curricula centered around economic growth and look to educate children in a holistic way that will enable them to thrive in the future. Clifton High School in the UK has launched a course tailored to execute this framework, with students learning fundamental skills such as emotional intelligence, citizenship, innovation, and collaboration through different cultures, as well as learning about AI. This Skills for Tomorrow course aims to provide a proof of concept for schools across the world to replicate, providing an education that is complementary to the changes we are seeing in the 21st century. It is vital that governments and policymakers take action to reduce the risk of redundant skills in the next generation. A global issue in education that exacerbates socioeconomic divides is the question of access. With 2.9 billion people still offline and major technological divides within countries, those who can learn how to use AI in schools will benefit from these tools, while those who cannot are left behind. However, my time at the UN exposed me to promising projects in this field. One example is the AU Continental Strategy for Africa, which aims to focus education in African countries on capturing the advantages of artificial intelligence. It hopes to harness the adaptability of Africa's young population, with 70% of African countries having an average age below 30. I also saw AI used to support social and emotional learning in Sweden and Norway. However, it has been highlighted by Everest Obinyera in their report titled The Fourth Industrial Revolution and the Recolonization of Africa, that strategies such as the AUCSA could be hijacked by technology companies and lead to data and employment colonization, leading to asymmetrical power relations, uneven distribution of resources and knowledge, and further challenges for global equality in the education sector. There's a lot to be optimistic about as AI becomes integrated into education, but the pace at which it is integrated could lead to detrimental outcomes due to improper governance, outdated national curriculums, and teachers themselves not being ready. Governments must take action, not just theory, to prepare the education sector globally for this technology. EdTech experts are pursuing innovation due to its rapid development. Positive legislative efforts, such as the EU AI Act built upon the EU GDPR law, will mean that safety is at the forefront of further testing on AI and that steps are taken to make sure that children's data is not misused. While companies adhering to these laws deserve praise, those designing education tools with safety as their secondary objective need to realign their values.